Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today. Wherever you are in this great world, we're gonna talk about XRP. And I gotta tell you, the institutions, they are now shifting in this space. Before it was all about the Bitcoin ETFs, the Ethereum ETFs, but now you see the shift happening. We learned that institutional investors do not see Bitcoin as the Holy Grail. So what do they view as the Holy Grail? Ripple and its offerings. In this scenario, Interledger Protocol is considered the Holy Grail due to its interoperability. It's the Holy Grail of DLTs. That comes from Mr. Man. And that's what Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation was talking about back in 2015, 2017. And even a lot of these banks, they saw this and they said, this is the future. And that is why I'm staying invested in utility. And here's the CEO of Franklin Templeton telling you what is the biggest disruptor.
If you think about what this is just a simple technology. What this technology does is it has a source of truth. It has ability to execute smart contracts. So things that we've written into a document, and somebody's got to go check and go settle and do this and that, can get programmed in, and it has a way to pay. That actually is a massive threat to huge financial institutions who act as those roles. And so what you have is a lot of sort of the traditional, you have some traditional firms who are merely trying to figure out how to leverage the technology to do what they do today. I'll give you an example. DTCC settles transactions, securities. They're working on just using blockchain as the source of truth in settlement. They should kind of be thinking about atomic settlement where the moment the trade happens, the dollars, the smart contract executes and the dollars transact. Because that's actually what's going to happen. And then I think you have institutions, and I think hopefully this is what we're doing at Franklin Templeton, is we're trying to sit there and say, okay, with this technology, imagine where you do have atomic settlement on transactions, where you don't need to validate. Oftentimes a bank is in between to validate the two parties. I know that when I trade with JP Morgan, that they're making sure that whoever's on the other side is going to pay me. They're standing in for that. If it settles automatically, you don't need that validation. So you have parties who are thinking about, what does atomic settlement mean to my business model? In our case, we built on the Stellar blockchain our money market fund, where we have the record keeping, and we're the only ones who are actually running a public transactions on blockchain. There's others shadowing it. We're actually settling them on the chain. And so over time, as you can start to have people making payments leveraging this yield coin, then and maybe you hold it for 5 hours. Shouldn't you get 5 hours worth of yield?
Think about it like this. What blockchain is doing is it's cutting out the middleman, but it's also cutting out the fees that the middleman charges. And that is why JP Morgan either had to get involved with blockchain or they would have just got left behind. This is also why JP Morgan wanted some of that sweet escrow that Ripple is holding. And then there's Uphold, and they put this out a while back. In the Uphold Inc. profile background, the first coin in the stack was XRP. Shortly after, they posted a video where the first coin is flipped. I think the time has come. And you see the switch right here. It's XRP flipping Bitcoin. I think the exchanges see it coming. Ripple partners see it coming. Institutions are not going to flood into Bitcoin like people think. They're going to flood in to what has real value, what doesn't run on speculation. And this comes from Edo Farina. El Salvador just abandoned Bitcoin, leaving Bitcoin without its only major partner. This is not looking good at all. And El Salvador ditched their whole Bitcoin program because they rely on the IMF for money. Who sits on the board at the IMF? Chris Lawson. Because XRP is the future. Bitcoin is not the future. And people still have not figured that out. Retail investors have not figured that out yet. They will. And you know, even in El Salvador, Bitcoin was running on Algorand rails. So it was like, hey, you were making transactions, but it's going over the Algorand network. It made no sense in the first place. And there's no competition to XRP. Take a listen to this.
Bitcoin blockchain is quite slow, and originally people thought it might solve a payments problem. But when you have an asset like XRP that's 1,000 times faster and 1,000 times cheaper on a per transaction basis, Bitcoin can't really compete on that level. You know, an XRP transaction costs fractions of a penny and it settles in 3 seconds. You know, comparatively, you have Bitcoin taking 45 minutes, sometimes hours to settle a transaction, and can take the cost can be $3 to $30. So that might be cheaper than the alternative in today's banking system, but it's not really an internet of value, a true step forward in how we can allow value to move the way information moves today.
So it's not the internet of value, and it's also not digital gold. That whole digital gold narrative came up after they realized Bitcoin was never going to be utilized in transactions. Then they always tried to push store of value as well. But even now, XRP is starting to be looked at by the institutions as a store of value. Everything that Bitcoin was ever built to do, XRP does better. NASDAQ, we are trying to get people to move past Bitcoin and into actual future of finance. They don't even see it as the future of finance. Take a listen.
For a lot of viewers who are kind of new to crypto and don't really know what to think about stablecoins, don't really know what to think about wrapped assets like wrapped treasuries, stablecoins are great because they help keep value on chain where it needs to be. Wrapped treasuries and RWA items that are used for collateral, great. They allow people to keep things on chain, just to keep everything away from the fiat world. That's critically important. They say, well, how does that affect me? I don't know what to buy after Bitcoin. All of those things have to settle on a blockchain. They're not their own blockchains. They might settle on Ethereum or another blockchain, but they're going to need one. So when everyday investors are thinking, how can they expand their crypto knowledge outside of Bitcoin? Think of all the things that we're talking about. Most of them are going to have to settle, be executed, and cleared onto a blockchain. Which blockchain those are going to be among the winners. So just a little bit to spread the knowledge. We're trying to get people past Bitcoin, which basically just moves from one address to another, into the future of finance. And all of the stuff that we're talking about here is going to have to participate.
And XRP and the XRP ledger is the future of finance. Even Stellar, XLM, and XDC, this is the future. And Bitcoin is going to be settling over the XRP ledger, the Stellar network, the XDC network, Hedera network, Algorand network. And that is what's going to happen next. The major shift is going to happen, and I think it's going to end the 4-year cycle. I keep seeing people talking about Bitcoin in 2028 now because they know this cycle is almost over. But what happens if Bitcoin doesn't even have a run-up in 2028? Look at how fast technology is moving. Do you honestly think there's going to be a run in 2028? I think before that even happens, we're going to have a massive utility run in the crypto space. Utility-driven cryptocurrencies are the future. Bitcoin is the past. Rob Cunningham put out a great post earlier today. He said about Ripple and XRP when 1. SEC lawsuit ends. I expect that to happen before March. Multiple ETFs launch. That could happen in the coming weeks. Crypto and stablecoin laws pass. That could also happen quicker than scheduled. 1,700 Ripple NDAs expire. We will eventually find out all of Ripple's partners. I'm sure there's some very big names on there. Institutional FOMO explodes. That's going to happen next. Strategic crypto reserve is known. I think Trump is going to put that off until most likely summer. And maybe he'll fast track it. We really don't know yet, but if I had to give you my opinion, I think that happens over the summer. XRP token price soars. XRP escrow value added to Ripple balance sheet and market cap soars. Ripple completes 2025 IPO. Once you get a valuation for XRP from Ripple through their IPO, I think that's going to push the price up very quick. That will happen like an overnight event. Ripple soars into the top 5 companies. Ripple added to S&P 500 index. S&P 500 index funds begin auto-purchasing Ripple shares. Wall Street analysts begin covering Ripple. Wait until Ripple is all over the mainstream media news. Retail stockbrokers, planners, and investment managers finally begin recommending Ripple and XRP to their millions of clients. Any financial planner that is getting their clients onto XRP now, they're going to get the upper hand on the other financial planners who are not telling their clients to put their money into crypto. Ripple starts flexing its Internet of Value dominance and spreads its wings. That's when you will see the rise of the Phoenix. And all of that is set to happen in the short term. I keep seeing people in the comments section saying, I'm going to be holding for another 5 to 10 years minimum if nothing happens soon. This is set to happen short term. This can happen in 2025. Most of it I already expect to happen. This is also going to be very big. This is the next big thing to happen around crypto. Take a listen.
And then the other is crypto's going to come. Crypto's going to come right back to life. And actually, that's very exciting. Actually, that's worth noting is that's another $1 trillion question on AI, which is in a world of pervasive AI, and especially in a world of AI agents, and imagine a world of billions or trillions of AI agents running around, they need an economy. And crypto, in our view, happens to be the ideal economic system for that, right? Because it's a very programmable money. It's a very easy way to plug in and do that. And there's this transaction processing system that can do that. And so I think the crypto AI intersection, is potentially a very, very big deal.
Think of those AI agents, and they're going to be running the entire economy. And crypto will be a major part of that economy. And this is also coming. This is the 4th and 5th industrial revolutions colliding together in real time. We're going to watch the rise of AI all throughout 2025. There's so much talk about AI right now. And you're already invested in that as well as an XRP investor. Because Ripple pivoted. They went towards AI already. So instead of holding a handful of cryptocurrencies, maybe you only need 3 or 4 cryptocurrencies, well-rounded cryptocurrencies. That's why I always urge people to stay within ISO 222, because all 8 of those cryptocurrencies are all very well-rounded. XDC goes beyond digital trade. XLM goes beyond person-to-person money. HBAR, that's just an absolute powerhouse of a network that Hedera has. Algo, well-rounded. ADA, well-rounded. IOTA, well-rounded. QNT, going to be the glue that holds this whole system together. If you stay within those cryptocurrencies and time is running out on them, right now they're all very undervalued. Look at the price of XRP. At $3. People think they're too late to XRP now. This is nothing compared to where we're going. Every one of these ISO cryptocurrencies are going to be 3, then 4, then 5-digit assets. It's just a matter of time. UBS investment bank CEO said many people invest in cryptocurrencies because they don't trust the fiat system, especially in emerging markets facing inflation and political instability. Is crypto the new gold? Most people invest in crypto to fight off inflation. You know, there's only one thing that I would hold other than US dollars, and that's Bitcoin. I think I worded that wrong. If I had a choice, this is my choices to fight off inflation. Crypto is number one. Then there's gold and silver. Then there's Bitcoin. Other than that, then I would hold US dollars. But the US dollar, it's always losing value, and inflation is not slowing down. And that is what gets most people invested into crypto. But Elon Musk said we could have no inflation in 2026, reducing the federal deficit from 2 trillion to 1 trillion in fiscal year 2026 requires cutting an average of $4 billion a day in projected 2026 spending from now to September 30th. That would still result in a $1 trillion deficit, but economic growth should be able to match that number, which would mean no inflation in 2026. That would be huge. If we were to get rid of inflation, I think a lot of people would invest more money into crypto, into other investments as well. People would definitely they'd be incentivized to work more because their dollar would be worth more. And even ending the IRS, that would incentivize a lot of people to go to work. Imagine going to work and not having federal income tax taken out of your check. Then it will go down to the state level. And I think we're going to see this with the rise of AI as well, because AI is going to create a whole new economy. And crypto is going to be the backbone of that economy. And you're invested early in that. So when that happens, I expect all these cryptocurrencies to really take off in price. And you're so early still, and the fourth and fifth industrial revolutions are still slowly coming together right now. When that happens, you are going to make so much money. We talk about generational wealth and financial freedom. You will have so much money when this happens. It will be like you will be the 1%. That's how big this actually is. But we're just not quite there yet. This is why I'm always telling you, you see a dip happen, don't worry about the dip. Where we're going, it is so much bigger. But like I said, Bitcoin, I would hold that over the US dollar. But I'd always hold gold instead of Bitcoin. And I definitely would always hold something that actually does something in the real world, like utility-driven cryptocurrencies over Bitcoin. I still look at it as an inflated meme coin. It's propped up by fake tether, has zero use case. It's going to be running on all these other utility-driven networks. Flare is going to give Bitcoin some utility, but I don't think it's really going to give it the price points that people are expecting. Like anybody who's calling for $1 million Bitcoin by 2030, I honestly think at this point, they lost the whole realism in Bitcoin, because that narrative, it's dying. You could see it dying in real time. The speculation, the hype, all of it is coming to an end. Even the institutions now want to pivot away from Bitcoin because they realize that it cannot solve any problems. That's why you're going to see a surge on utility going forward. But until it happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I know when I start talking about crypto, sometimes I just get caught up in it and I don't want to forget to say certain things in videos. This one drug out a little bit longer than expected. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.